I'm pretty, as Americanized as you can get. At the same time, growing up, there were times where people would make presumptions about me or make fun of me or insult me because of my ethnicity. I remember when I was a kid, every time we put up Christmas lights, kids would come by and smash your Christmas lights. Probably is an interesting guy. When I first met him, I just kind of wrote him off as a crazy kook. But in between the random kind of inane nonsense, there's actually like gems and nuggets of information that are actually useful.
All of you look Chinese to me. They don't like that. They do.
A lot of people can't differentiate among Asian Americans. Asian American is a very broad term that encompasses a broad range of communities, and we're not all alike. This is straight out, I trust you.
No,
because I feel like
you from the very beginning, yeah.
Becky, she's a lawyer, but she does a lot of nonprofit work. I respect that, and I don't think someone like that is likely to be in this game just to make a lot of money. So I trust her. Going to Exile Island really sucked. There's pretty much nothing on it. I feel like I have a pretty strong connection with members of my tribe. I miss them, hopefully they miss me, and it'll be an opportunity just to uncover the immunity idol. The last time you can use any hidden immunity idol is when there are 4 survivors remaining in the game. I found the immunity idol, which is probably the single biggest stroke of luck I could have had. If there's a clear opportunity where it can change the game, I'd use it. You're in a situation where I could save your butt. I'll do it.
I appreciate it. No, I trust you. You know that I trust you.
Becky and I have, I think, a tight bond and strong alliance coming out of our Puka tribe. I think it's a huge advantage in this game to have someone that you can absolutely trust. And I think given our backgrounds and our common interests, so I felt comfortable disclosing the information to her. Right now, we have our solid forward lines. Myself, Jonathan, Becky, and Candace. Cowboy and Flecka voted with us last tribal council, but it's just hard to be in any kind of strategic alliance with them because you have no idea what's going to happen on a day-to-day basis. We need a 5th in order to have the numbers. Sandra, I think, is someone that everyone is kind of leaning towards because she seems not to be a manipulative person. She seems that if she were to commit, that she would be very dependable. And, she's kind of out here by herself, and I think she's looking for a home.
I realized we got 6 votes. And what if we have the item? We put 3 votes on each of them.
Cowboy believes that Jonathan has a hidden immunity idol. So Plan Voodoo would split our votes between Jonathan and Candace, forcing a 3-3 tied, and if Jonathan has the hidden immunity idol, it forces it to be played. And so that way you accomplish 2 goals. 1, you get the hidden immunity idol out of Jonathan's hands, and 2, you get one of those 2 people to go home. That's very interesting.
At least we weaken a number, one way or another. Think about it. It's the only strategy I can think of to work.
That's a very interesting idea. I think the plan is ingenious. I know that neither Jonathan or Candace have the hidden immunity idol because I have it. But it's a great plan to break down Jonathan's alliance with the members of the original white tribe. I do feel bad that people have to go. I'd like to try to play the game with as much integrity and honesty as I can. I'm finding it to be very, very complicated because I feel like people do trust me, but as a result of that, they think I'm in a number of separate alliances with them, and obviously I can't be in alliance with everyone. So for me, it's a question of how far can you get in this game, and who do I trust? I know that Jonathan, for some reason, seems to inspire some level of mistrust among pretty much everybody. If you talk to anybody, including other people in our alliance, they feel like he's a gamer. He's here to play hard, and people don't fully trust him. And for me, I haven't seen it, but because everyone else is suspicious of him, it can't help but rub off on me a little bit.
I'm offering each of you the opportunity to mutiny and join the other tribe. Candace is mutinying. 1. Jonathan mutinies at the last second. That is it.
For us, we don't really have any strategic options other than to win.
We are the underdogs. All we have to do is our best.
We have to work together. We have to be a team. We've been having challenge after challenge after challenge, not getting a whole lot of downtime to recover. And yesterday and today, I just feel really crappy. I'm getting a little bit worried, especially going forward, that it's going to be a problem. I'm really looking forward to getting to know the people on the other side I've never gotten a chance to interact with.
Hey man, I like you. You got class.
Yeah, you do.
He does. We have a new identity now. We've merged into one tribe, but the fact of the matter remains that we're still divided into 2 tribes, and as Aitutaki came in with fewer numbers, things look pretty bleak. We seriously thought it was going to be over for us, and the fact that we're still here, it's great. We're trying to figure out if there's any chink in the armor in Rarotonga. We desperately need to convince someone to come over to our side. I'm trying to think, what's the danger of them knowing that I have the idol? I'm not sure there's a whole lot of danger, to be honest. They don't have the numbers to arrange a split vote. Our backs are against the wall. We need someone to flip. We've kind of come up with a desperate plan, based on the fact that I had the hidden immunity idol, and it could change, hopefully, the whole flow of the game.
I do not believe that Ozzy would trust me. I'm not sure why you would trust me.
Jonathan deserted us. We had an alliance going, and he turned his back on the alliance and, basically left us for dead. But at the same time, I don't really have an option here. I got to figure out something that's going to work, and this might work. No, Jonathan's not playing us. There's always a possibility he's doing this just to throw his name off our target. It's entirely possible that Jonathan's pretending to go along with the plan in order to direct the vote away from him onto Nate. And if he doesn't vote with us tonight, I'm going to play the idol, and once it's played, then I'm vulnerable. I don't want to do that. So, I don't know. I'm hoping somehow all this clicks together. So at Tribal Council, I think everyone was holding their breath. I believed Jonathan, and I believed he was sincere in switching over, but I wasn't sure. It was a huge risk that we took, but this is how I wanted to play the idol. I wanted to play it at a point in time where it, resets the entire game in your favor. And it worked. Adam, Parvati, and Candace approached me today. They really want Jonathan out of the game. So they asked me, kind of appealing to my sense of, justice and integrity, to please vote him off first. Yeah, maybe we should just hide the food for a couple days. Ozzy catches pretty much most of our food, and Adam and Parvati keep on winning these challenges. So I think at this point we've tentatively decided to keep on catching food, but maybe hide some of it from Adam and Parvati. Never had a massage? No. You're kidding me. Oh, you're in for a treat. We got a massage after that, which was awesome. It's a nice reminder of life outside of this game.
I just peed in my pants, and I wasn't even wearing any.
I don't know if Parvati is flirting with Ozzy only because she's hoping that there might be some strategic option there. Ozzy, to some extent, might be reciprocating. I mean, if Ozzy responds in some way, maybe somewhere down the line, something might come up. I would not be happy going to the final two with Ozzy. Any one of us going against Ozzy would be likely to lose on the jury. Ozzy has been getting a lot of favor with members of the old railroad tribe because they perceive him as being, kind of a pure player. He's doing his own thing. He's not strategizing. He's not building coalitions. He's playing a straight-up game, and he's doing a hell of a job of it. Today, Ozzy won immunity, as usual. I mean, he's just becoming bigger and bigger threat. So we're all pretty aligned on voting out one of the railroad folks, either Adam or Parvati. It's just a question of who to vote out first. The Aitutaki 4 has made it to the Final Four. Also, I still have the hidden immunity idol, which I can still play in the Final Four. So I've maneuvered myself into a very good position. But now it's a different ball game. I'm hoping I'll be relatively clean, but if it just gets ugly, then we'll see what happens. I am so glad that the winner of Survivor is going to be from a minority community. I think it speaks volumes that oftentimes the strongest teams are the ones that have a diversity of perspectives and backgrounds. And the fact that we were able to bond so tightly together and really kind of succeed under very long odds, I think is a great morality tale.
It's like a cooked beef.
The fact that I was able to start this whole adventure with Becky on day one, the fact that I'm able to finish it with her, it's got to be a dream, right?
Congratulations, guys.
Finding a really good friend is worth more than $1 million. I mean, friendships like the one that I have with Becky, I think are that rare. I tried to play the game with as much integrity as I could. I know that I failed in a lot of respects, but hopefully people won't hold it against me that I beat them.
Yule, brilliant man, a very polite person, and polite is sort of the other half of the word of politic. Certainly you are a civic-minded person. You could conceive even of running for office. So, Yule, your future constituents have watched the season because they're thinking of voting for you. Explain to people who would vote for you how telling half-truths, which are also half-lies, keeps in line with your integrity, good intentions, and your ability to serve them in the future.
I think what you said is absolutely true. I've done a lot of deceiving in this game, a lot of manipulation, but Survivor is a game, obviously. Everyone here came into the game knowing what the game was about. If I was outside this game, I would never do this to unsuspecting people. Look, I have the ability and I have the technique to manipulate people. But if you look at the overall game, I've stayed true to the original people that I made alliances with. Anyway, I hope that answers your question.
You did very well, thank you.
First vote, Yule.
Ozzy. 1 vote Yule, 1 vote Ozzy. Yule. 2 votes Yule, 1 vote Ozzy. Yule. 3 votes Yule, 1 vote Ozzy. Ozzy. 3 votes Yule, 2 votes Ozzy. Ozzy. We are tied. 3 votes Yule, 3 votes Ozzy. Ozzy. Ozzy now in the lead. 4 votes Ozzy. 3 votes Yule.
Oh my God.
Yule. The winner of Survivor Cook Islands.
Yule is brilliant. He's like Mr. Harvard, Yale, Stanford guy. And he's also really, really strong.
I'm asking you for both of our sakes to become my ally again. It's a little bit weird for me because I feel like I'm kind of like the Godfather or something, arranging a hit on somebody. I don't know if I'm entirely comfortable with it.
Season 40, you're back. It's so good to see you. How are you feeling? It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm super pumped. Like,
Yeah.
it's been 13 years since I competed on Cook Islands. So, like, a lot has changed. My life has changed. The world has changed. Survivor has changed. But I'm looking forward to coming back and see what I can do.
Let's talk about your time at Cook's Island. One of the most controversial season ever.
Yes.
Coming
Yes.
out of that, how was it for you?
Yeah, Cook Islands, you know, the dominant theme for that season was racial tribes. They had a Caucasian tribe, African American tribe, Latino tribe, and Asian tribe. I got recruited for the show. They didn't tell us until we actually got on the island.
Really?
And when I found out, I was like, this is a terrible idea, like, get me off, like, you know.
You did. You actually vocalized how you felt about it.
Yeah, I thought about quitting. The reason I went on Survivor the first time was I felt like there was a lack of representation of people of color on mainstream television, especially people within the Asian American community. And you know, the great thing about a reality show is that it's not scripted, right? So I don't have to read the lines that some dude in Hollywood wrote of what he thinks an Asian person should say. I could just be myself.
Yeah.
But I stuck with the game because I figured, you know, how often does someone from my community get an opportunity to be on television? And I played the game I wanted. I ended up winning. And it was not something I expected, but I was like super happy with it.
I want to talk to you about that win. How did it change you and that experience and being of a person of color?
Yeah.
How did that change you and the perspective of the game?
Yeah, I think for me it was definitely a big growth journey. Growing up, especially as an ethnic minority, I often felt marginalized. You know, I wasn't part of the popular crowd. I was kind of a nerd. I used to get bullied a lot. And so growing up, I didn't have a lot of self-confidence. And I think there are lots of reasons for that, but certainly one of them is just the fact that when you turn on the television set, you don't see people who look like you in any kind of leadership role, right? And so when I got the opportunity to go on Survivor and I won, I really wanted to use those 15 minutes of fame to do something positive. So I spoke to a lot of people of color, a lot of schools, shared my own personal journey around the kind of insecurities and social anxieties I had and that I was still struggling with even as an adult. And I think for the people who were feeling that way, it matters. You know, if I had seen someone on television that I looked up to telling me how insecure he was growing up and struggled with these things and ultimately was able to overcome them, I think that would have been inspirational for me. So I want to try to give that for the next generation of Asian kids.
You know, you're talking about bullying, and when you come to a game like this at Survivor, you do whatever you need to do to survive.
Right.
Is there any trigger points for you when you're on a show like this?
You know, Survivor is hard because it's hard to pretend to be someone that you're not under conditions of extreme deprivation. The thing that I think has helped me actually on Survivor is the fact that I was bullied and that I wasn't popular, because I think it's made me much more sensitive and empathetic to recognize when other people are also feeling threatened or insecure. And in Survivor, you see the same people making the same mistakes over and over again, which is they're in a dominant alliance and they kind of disregard everyone else. Whereas for me, I actually just want to reach out to them on a human level, and in doing so, you end up building bonds of trust that actually help you within the game.
How are you going to deal with all the egos that are out here?
Oh, I think the more egos, the better. Basically,
Okay.
you know, there's the island is only so large, right? There's a finite amount of space for these massive egos. And look, my biggest fear coming into the game is because I've been disconnected, all the people who know each other will form a tight alliance and just pick us off one by one. All the
Right.
people are disconnected. What I think will happen, though, is because of the big egos, they're going to be going to war against each other. That provides the opportunity and the chaos for me to insinuate myself as a loyal foot soldier, use them as shields until they wipe each other out, and then take over the game later on.
How would you say the game has changed?
It's gotten a lot faster. You know, I think when I played a strategic game, but there was still a lot of people voting for who they liked. I think over time, the audience and the jury tends to reward people who play very strong strategic games. They don't take things as personally. So I think for me, I have my work cut out. Like, there's a lot of new players, a lot of new winners. They grew up in a different era of Survivor. They play
Yeah.
really hard. And the typical things around like loyalty, integrity, pretty much have gone out the window.
Yeah. You've been watching it. I'm assuming you've been watching from since you've been on it. Aside from you,
Yeah.
who's had the best winning game?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think everyone has played a different game. Sandra obviously has won twice. She has a very
But
effective
does that
game.
make her having the best winning game?
I don't know. I think the best winning game is really situational. It depends on who you're playing with, what the themes are, who you start off the different tribes with. I think someone who obviously was a very strong one-time winner is Kim Spradlin. Like, she really dominated her season. Sandra won twice. You can't argue with that. Parvati, who was on my season, came back much stronger and played a much more like strategic, calculated game. And she's considered one of the best players ever.
How has it been for you to see her evolve?
It's been really cool. On the first time we played against each other, I recognized fairly late in the game how strong she actually was. And then I think what happened was she took the lessons from that game and then just turned it up on Micronesia and Heroes vs. Villains, and she's the complete package. So it's been awesome watching her just grow as a player.
Now, in your year, a lot of people talked about your abs. It was a conversation that went on and on and on. Do you still have
You
the
know,
pack? The six-pack? Or the, what is it, 18-pack?
the Yule of the 6 or 18 pack happened 13 years ago.
Yes.
2 kids and about 1,000 hamburgers ago. So I don't look like I did when I was 31. I'm in my mid-40s now.
You're in your mid-40s.
I
Do you
mean-
ever look back and say, whoa?
Kind of. You know, the funny thing is, the most common comment I got from fans after I won Cook Islands and saw me in real life, they all thought I was supposed to be bigger. And they're all disappointed. Every time they say, like, wait, you're Yule? Wait, I thought you were taller and I thought you were bigger and better looking. I'm like, no, actually, it's all the magic of editing, right? So, yeah.
It
no,
isn't.
I'm not a huge guy.
Yeah.
But having 0 body fat certainly helped.
So how did you prepare this time around mentally and physically, knowing
Yeah.
what you went through those many years ago?
This time around, I think I did a much better job preparing myself. First time, I didn't know what to expect. This time, I know that, you know, how to train better using functional movements. I did a lot of work on balance. Watching all the seasons and getting a sense of how the game has evolved and the personalities of all the winners. And I think I'm just in a different place. Like, I think I'm just more secure in myself, more stable. The other thing that's going to be different, I think, for me is that because of the racial twist on Cook Islands, I felt very constrained in terms of how I played because I felt like I was representing my whole community and I didn't want to screw it up. I didn't want to give anyone a bad name or get some other Asian kid beat up in school. So I was very careful about what I said and I only played a certain way. This time around, it's like no holds barred, right? Like, I don't have that pressure anymore. I can play the game that I want. And I think I'm coming in with a great position because I have a reputation for integrity and people will trust me and I can use that to my advantage.
So is that what you would say is your strength going into this game?
Yeah, I think my strength, look, the currency on Survivor, the thing that matters most is trust. In a game like this, it's going to be hard for people to trust one another. If you're a returning player, obviously people are going to be suspicious of them, have the big targets.
Right.
If you're a more recent winner, I think people assume that in this modern era of Survivor, loyalty doesn't mean anything. In my case, I think people will trust me. I think that's one thing I'm pretty good at, engendering trust. And I think, again, I can use that to my advantage in a way that I think other people couldn't.
And your weakness?
My weakness? Oh, I have many weaknesses. I'm kind of frail.
No, you're not.
I am. I get hurt easily. Like,
Are you-
I don't know
no.
what it's, no, really. I have very thin skin. Like, my durability, I think, will be an issue.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think all around, I think I'm a pretty complete player. I think I have a strong strategic game, good social game. Athletically, as long as I don't like hurt myself, I think we would be pretty strong in that regard. So, I do think that someone like me is probably more likely to win than one of the returning players. just by virtue of the fact that I don't have a big target on my back and I can go deep into the game.
Nice. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's the biggest battle in Survivor history. Face the return of the edge of extinction and encounter a new twist that will completely reset how the game is played.
Fire tokens add yet another layer of duplicity that did not exist before.